It is time to make the sound to summon the stream. Ugh. Greetings, dear viewers. I'm Quill Quickcard, and welcome back to the Community RPG Maker Project. Let me just crop the bottom of my screen there for a second. That should be fine. Sitting at 58 pixels of cropping. Doesn't really matter if the top bar shows. Excellent! So, let's see. We've got some pretty cool stuff to do today. Last time, I started work on what is going to be the final area for this act of the game, where the players are finally going to do battle against the false Hydra that has been causing all of this trouble. Oh, hold on. I don't have... No, I do. Okay, yeah, capture cursor is on. Good. Hello, Smasher. Hello, noobs. Welcome. Add mimic. I added a mimic. I am not adding another right now. We can have more mimics when we finally get to the jungle area. So last time I built the first phase of the false Hydra fight, where the entire AI is completely scripted and follows a series of very specific instructions, transitioning between two different phases and forcing the player to deal with quite a variety of disruptive mechanics. This first phase of the false Hydra fight is pretty much meant to be like the most difficult part. There is going to be 3 other phases, but one of them is basically going to be a horde battle against multiple enemies. I'll just call those, like, I don't know, hands of the Hydra or heads of the Hydra or something. We'll figure it out. And one of them is basically just a gimmick fight. And then the third one is mostly just going to be a rush to deal as much damage as possible. Don't worry, every stream I'm in, I'll say add mimic at least once. Understood. Hello, Frost Dragon. Welcome to the stream. So, let's briefly show off the Hydra Phase 1 fight that we designed last time. Keep in mind, the visual for the Hydra at this point are literally just placeholders. Yeah, so the visuals, at least for the Hydra, are just placeholders, but this will give a good representation of where we are at this point. Let me just make sure all of the testing characters are all set properly. You are running the welding spritzel instead of the cap gun, instead of Pepsi. No, Pepsi Blue is right. Everybody's wearing, like, their best armor. You can have the boulder shield. Malter. Yeah, you're fine. Thatcher. Magic Hat's fine. Alright, so let's show off this fight. And hopefully I can remember how to do it. Alright, Hydra. The first thing we want to do is turn down that volume in my ears a little bit. And we're going to run the debug code just to unlock all of our abilities. So that's going to be debug code 100. Here we go. Hello, Cole. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Malter! Let's open with an enrichment, which is a reasonable thing that people would start this fight with. Elena! Let's go with Prayer to draw the Hydra's attacks. Okay, so Ryu has been locked down with basically a persistent berserk effect. So he's just going to be attacking on his own, doing his own thing. Let's go with Zenith. Let's prepare our ammo. The one thing we really need is, and don't mind all this, it only shows up because I'm in battle debug. We're gonna run up with 5 shots of growth ammo. Elena, let's go with the Conversion Strike. It shouldn't work. Conversion Strike shouldn't do anything to it. Okay, it damaged but didn't do the effect. Its next attack, it does dark damage plus a stun. Good. And now we're going to drop our growth shot so that everyone gets a regeneration. Now he drains half of Elena's MP. And we're almost ready to go into the transition. So let's just attack like crazy. Elena, how about some justice punches? Thatcher, another Zenith. Alright, so now's the transition. So it poisons everybody, or it tries to poison everybody, and then it becomes intangible. So in this stage, you can damage it, but it's basically got a 98% damage reduction against everything. So there's very little point trying to damage it in this state. However, with multiple people poisoned, I believe it uses a turn next, a move next that's going to try to lock everybody's abilities to use their powers. Or no, actually, I think that's what this... Yeah, okay. So one of the things this poison does, on top of hurting you, is locks out your ability to use your skills. So the first thing we need to do is prioritize getting rid of that. So we'll drop some Crystal Pepsis. It also, however, gets rid of that enrage effect that Ryu had been hit with. So Ryu is no longer just berserked. And Malter, there we go, is clear of the Hydra Mist. Did Elena get misted? No, she did not. Okay. So, since we're not really able to damage it, we are instead going to focus on recovering the various characters' stamina. Okay, so there's the curse energy. And we're going to Dragon Shift. I never added the Dragon Shifting for Dark to debug code 100. Add Dragon Shift Dark Learning to debug code 100. Make it so Ryu has a chance not to be affected. It doesn't add Wing Buffet either. Add Wing Buffet and Dragon Claw Learning to debug code 100. Malter. Let's actually go with a Dr. Pepper on Elena. She really does need the stamina. So Elena can actually exercise in order to remove Hex and Curse from the entire party. So we have now survived the big debuffs in this form. At this point, all it really does is let out some small amounts of group damage. And I really should not have turned on Elena's prayer. Let's go ahead and Dragon Shift. Malter. Not really too much of a need to do anything. Although Growth Shot did wear off, so let's reapply our regeneration effect. Elena, please stop praying. You are just draining your health. Well, your stamina. There's no real point to trying to damage it. So let's just have them all drink a bottle of Pepsi until it's time for Elena's next turn. That was Ryu again. We have to have Elena hit it with her sword in order to get it out of this intangible phase that it's currently in. Elena, send it back to normal. Okay. So now it'll take damage like normal. False Hydra return to physical form. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay there. I don't really know how to fix that. Never mind, I just realized how to fix it. Alright, so the Hydra returns to physical form. And when it transitions, it does big damage to the whole team. So now we'll drop some heals. And we are back to being able to damage it. Let's try a Lucky Slash. Alright, who's getting locked down? Okay, Elena's gonna be locked down for this phase. That's okay. She was pretty much just gonna be attacking anyway. And everybody has a regeneration effect, so that's good. We're just trying to get off as much damage on this thing as we can. So there goes its damage and stun, so Thatcher's going to be stunned for this turn. And then it's basically just going to repeat the actions that we've already been seeing it take. And there's the stamina having attack, so Ryu lost half his stamina. So the name of the game for this boss phase was really just to be disruptive. The whole point of it was that the fight was very... Does Ryu have flame form? This is his flame form. The whole point of this part of the fight was really just to be as disruptive as possible. But you see, there it goes. With ideal gameplay, you can easily one-cycle it. Not a problem. As long as you're able to stabilize the fight, you can get out the damage that you need in order to beat it. Even without being able to go Dark Dragon form and really mitigate the damage it does on the transition. So, as far as I'm concerned, that is one of the best boss fights I have ever designed. It is intricate. It has lots of different parts to it. That is absolutely beautiful. And today we're going to be working on adding more phases to the fight. But first we're going to fix our debug options here. Because one of the things we need Ryu to have access to in the debugging is Dark Dragon shifting. Where did I put my skills there? So we need skill 236, all the wing buffets. And all the double claws. Okay. So are any of these skill 236? No, but two of them are 239. 240, 241. Add Draconic Resilience 236. We need to add the other feeding ability, which is Dark Dragon. That was 240, which is already on the list. Ice Breath, Fire Breath. I really need to order these better on the debug. Testing for that stupid-ass internal error. Oh, is that what you're doing? Dragon, shift blue. Don't need that. Don't need that. Wow, there is a lot here that I really didn't need. But we do need to learn the 4 wing buffet abilities. The reason Ryu's stuff gets very complicated is because all of his forms are technically different classes, and different classes with different types of skills that all have to be learned differently. So that is what makes Ryu kind of janky when it comes to debugging. And lastly, we need the 4 versions of Double Claw. Okay, the 5 versions of Double Claw, because I guess I future-proofed it. Every so often when I type in set, it says internal error encountered and doesn't let my message through. Oh, that's weird. Ugh. Okay, I think that fixes the debug issue. And now with the debugging done, let's completely ignore all the characters we have been making already. And we actually have to make a new class, because in the next phase of the fight, you will control a swarm of zombies. So we're just going to make it that you encounter this at level 10. And we'll just set all their other stats to 100. Why not? We'll just have everything be 100. Just for the hell of it. It doesn't really matter because the player's never really going to see these. Okay, there is the zombie swarm. They have 100% hit rate, no evasion rate, no crit rate. They're going to use skill type number 13. And skill type number 13 is going to be zombies! And now we need to make our zombie swarm face. So I don't think there's actually any better one that can be used for that. Nope. Okay. And their name is Zombie Swarm. They start at level 10. They max at level 10. Yeah, I think that's fine. Who made those zombies? The various Lich Priests of Wallachia. In the city of Wallachia, the dead protect the living, and the living honor the dead. This is the way of the city. And so the honored dead are taken, and the Lich Priests use their magics to turn them into those who shall protect and labor for the benefit of the city. And all of this would have gone a lot more smoothly if not for the fact that as the false Hydra kept taking victims, more and more information about the city, its history, and how it works was forgotten. So now we have rediscovered that we have the zombie swarm. Okay, so this is gonna be a really janky kind of fight to kind of dial it in. So we're just gonna put someone here you can interact with in order to test it. So the first thing we are going to do is add the zombie swarm and initialize them. Then we are going to remove our other characters from the party temporarily. So no Ryu, no Thatcher, no Malter, no Elena. And then we are going to change the HP of the zombie swarm decrease it by 99 and then add 9, and that should put it to 10. So the idea is that this represents like the number of zombies that you have, which is going to increase with each turn. So if that works, we should end up with a situation where we go into this battle with only the zombie swarm, where they have 10 HP and 10 stamina. It would also help if I gave... Oh, crap. Okay, I didn't even think about that. I'm going to have to design... the battler. Okay, how the hell am I going to do this? Oh boy. Okay. This is going to be a little complicated. More so than I had thought. Um, okay. So I don't have a side action battler that can reasonably be a zombie. And I really don't know if I can make one. Especially not one with green skin. Um, okay, first things first, let's get the clothes off. Um, we need something that looks kind of tattered. Uh, we're never going to see the face image. We're only going to see the battle sprite. So how the hell am I going to do that? I want to see something. Without a sprite, does it draw any shadows or give any indication? Okay, it does draw a sprite. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. I actually know how to make this work then. We can still stick with the same idea, but what we will do is have the placeholder character, the one that you're actually controlling, we will have it be Mr. Bones. That will work okay. So I don't suppose I was smart enough to save Mr. Bones. Can you make a Death Knight? Yes. I can make anything. Okay, Mr. Bones. Okay, so you're wearing like a bandage. So that's the one. We just gotta put it on a different face. That's not the one. That's not the one. That's the one. Okay. Make Death Knight riding an undead griffin the commander of the undead. This is the commander of the undead. And if trying to make this is difficult, making an undead griffin would be significantly more so. Okay, so I added face paint, scar. Scar is easy enough to add. Did I seriously not make Mr. Bones as pale as I could have? What the hell clothes did I have him in? It's got a light collar and then shoulder dangles. Okay, a light collar and shoulder dangles. Actually, a priest robe kind of works. Have one that is a ghost. Honestly, this might be enough. It's not like the eyes are really going to make any visible difference. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. So this is going to be Mr. Bones Battler. Okay. Can you change the battle back? You can change the battle back. Okay. So, MV Demonic World. Okay, that's the one we're going to use. And I will show you our plan here. This is going to be interesting. Image, Battlebacks 1, MV Demonic World. And we're going to load that into GIMP. And then on top of that, we are going to find our MV monster. Nope, not MV monster, regular monster. We're going to load that in. And we are actually going to use the battle back and fill it with zombie sprites. Have one that is a banshee. No, that's not what we're doing. I do have a pretty clear image of what this battle is. And so now all we need to do is create a bunch of duplicates of that layer. And just divide them around. Actually, yeah, since we're going to have Mr. Bones in the back, we will arrange the zombie swarm in front. Kind of like this. They don't use skeletons. That is a different branch of necromancy that is not represented among the people of Wallachia. Undead is undead, yes, but there is an inherent difference. The thing is, when you are animating a zombie, you are utilizing magic for the purposes of bringing life back into the physical substance of the flesh. Whoops. Yeah, don't merge that down. The substance of the flesh itself is still an essential component of what you are working with. When you are animating a skeleton in and of itself does not possess the physical substance necessary to ambulate. The only way you can work with a skeleton, looking at necromancy from a logical perspective, is that you are forcing an animating force into it. You're essentially creating more or less the equivalent of a type of golem. It is a completely inert substance that you are putting an animating force into, which would be incapable of ambulating on its own. It simply doesn't have like the requisite parts to do that. A zombie, on the other hand, depending on how it's been preserved, how the body has been maintained, is still potentially capable of ambulation. It simply needs a will put into it. When you start dealing with skeletons, you almost innately get into the area of magic, which is manipulating the soul and the spirit, as opposed to simply manipulating the substance of flesh. And I want to claw a design. Skeleton are just zombie without the flesh. Okay. A zombie has musculature. A zombie has a nervous system. A zombie has a circulatory system. A zombie has the parts necessary to move and function if you are capable of reanimating those components. A skeleton inherently requires a greater degree of modification in order to be capable of any form of ambulation and interaction with the world. That's where I draw my distinction between a skeletal undead and a zombie undead. And that is why I have specifically endeavored to focus on zombies as Wallachhia's undead horde. Consider a zombie and a skeleton as two different branches of necromancy in this setting. Okay, let's see if this works. Zombie Swarm. This is set to Demonic World. It's a little awkward. But I think it's about the best that I can do under my current limitations. The HP represents the number of zombies. So, basically, the whole point of the second phase is that you are using the zombies' abilities in combination to survive the attacks and to slowly build up your numbers. And then once you're at 100 zombies, you overpower and defeat the Hydra in that phase. So you're starting with 10 HP and 10 stamina because it's representing like, oh, I'm starting out with 10 zombies, is the basic idea. And then we can just design the whole Hydra part for that fight to work around that restriction. So what we need to figure out now are the actual skills that are being used by the zombie swarm in this. Just add a 0 in both starting and ending number. No, because I think walking in there with 100 zombies is unrealistic, and ending with 1,000 is insane. There's no point for our characters to be involved in this fight if this dude could march in there with 1,000 zombies. Alright, so first thing, we need a defensive move where you only lose 1 zombie. We need a move that calls more zombies. We need an attacking move with damage that scales in relation to the number of zombies. So the boss needs to eat a zombie to recover health. 100 zombie beating a freaking Hydra is real and believable. Yeah, I'd think so. I think it's completely realistic that 100 zombies could swarm a relatively small location and fight against an enemy. You have to wait, noob. You have to see how this is all going to come together. I have a vision in my head. It's just a matter of bringing it all together and having it work. But if we are going to do it like this, just call that Mr. Bones. Okay. So the boss can eat a zombie to recover its health. The boss can hit multiple zombies. Show and share the vision with us as well. Enlighten us. That's what I'm trying to do. It is a process. It takes time and patience. That's the last of my pot of coffee. Okay. We have an attack that hits multiple zombies. Basically, the way I'm envisioning this fight is that instead of thinking this as a single HP bar, think of your HP as the number of zombies in your swarm. So when it says 10, picture this as being 10 individual zombies, each one with 1 HP. So every point of HP damage done is one zombie being destroyed. One more zombie that has to be replaced as the battle goes on. So most of the Hydra's attacks at this point are going to do 1 damage. Little increments of 1 damage or like 2 or 3 as it takes out zombies individually. Meanwhile, you are trying to defend yourself so that you're losing as few zombies as possible, while trying to call in extra zombies, increasing your HP and your stamina. And then you've got an attacking move that's going to deal more damage, basically the higher your HP is. So essentially, the more zombies, the more damage that you are doing. So that is the basic thing for this. I don't want it to be hard. This is a gimmick fight. So one thing the boss can do, the boss can eat a single zombie and then restore some of its health. So that'll do like 1 damage and then recover a bunch. It'll move that will hit multiple zombies. So let's say like somewhere between 4 and 8, maybe. So a move that did 6 damage with a 50% variance would cover everything from 4 to 8. This one would hit 1. So what else? What else? And how do I do this this defensive move? We also want hit multiple zombies, but single at random. So this is going to be like multiple instances of 1 damage. So this one you can't really mitigate with your defensive move. So let's say it does it, I don't know, like 10 times. But only with like a 50% success rate on each of those 10. And oh, I actually have to go do something. Okay, I will be right back. Give me like 2 minutes. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for your patience. Unfortunately, that required some immediate attention. See, none of you understand. I was flipping through Reddit casually, and then I saw that someone on the internet was expressing an opinion which was factually incorrect. And it was unbelievably important that I halt the stream and be able to correct this person. It's the only way to ensure that there is peace and stability in the world. That may or may not be what I was actually doing. Probably not. But also maybe. Alright. Okay, I'll be honest, my wife needed me for something. You see, she was on Facebook, and she came across someone who had an opinion which was factually incorrect, and, okay, so maybe that's not the truth either. The point is, there was something that I needed to take care of, but now I am back, and honestly, I think we have enough here to work with. Like, it's not a particularly complicated fight. Honestly, we really just need a pretty basic set of moves here. So we need a group hitting attack. Like maybe something that's like a big stomp. And this hits all the enemies. 6 damage with a 50% variance means that it can hit for anywhere between 3 and 9 damage total, which is fine. We could make it a mimic. That is true. False Hydra smashes anything it can reach, or yeah, I think a gas attack actually is a really good idea. Spews for dark power. So this is gonna be Hydra Breath 2. So this one hits multiple zombies. This one is going to be a bunch of claw attacks. So this is going to be Hydra Claws. And it's going to say, lashes at any zombies it can reach. So it'll actually repeat this 9 times, but with a 50% success rate each. Each one dealing exactly 1 damage with no variance. Poison Flame attack. That would be good for the next phase where the players fight it. That would be really good. Okay, this is going to be Hydra Feed. Let's see. And this will be so-and-so devours a zombie. So, again, deals 1 damage. Did you see the Mega Halucha? Yes, I did. So it eats a zombie, it deals 1 damage. And... so we actually need to have 2 specific moves. So the Hydra has 10,000 health. So in stage 2, we'll have another 10,000 health. This one's not going to have any message. It's just going to be an HP recover on self. There we go. And it will recover 2,000 health. Okay, I think that works. So we just need Hydra Feed 1 to call a common event. We'll call common event number 37. And then common event number 37 will force the enemy to use the skill Hydra Feed 2, random target. What do you think about that and ZA? I think it's a perfectly good design for a Mega Halucha. As for ZA overall, I haven't been paying as much attention to the news. I'm trying to go in relatively blind. But, I mean, it certainly looks fine. I am curious how they're going to be arranging it. Because it does seem like a lot of the emphasis is on battling. And I'm quite curious. Ugh. I am curious how much exploration and capture versus battling is going to feature as the system. I'm also not quite as clear. Noah Halucha is the second Pokemon from that gen that introduced Megas to gain a Mega. Yes, I am aware of that. I would say it is fair to say about ZA. Obviously, I'm going to get it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to love it. I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to 100% it. I already know all of that. But I will say that I do have some concerns, which have not yet been alleviated, regarding how its combat system is going to function. How much of it is actually going to involve exploration and catching. All of the environments that I have seen so far from the trailers look somewhat limited in their scope. I think it takes a real bit of vision to bring this kind of thing into a completely enclosed environment where just apparently everything's going to take place inside of Lumiose City, which I think is, if that's actually the case, that the entire game is never going to leave Lumiose City, I think that is probably going to end up being a severely limiting factor. There's only so much variation you can get with environment and detail if everything you're doing is taking place in city, and pretty much all of your more natural areas are limited to parks. I would assume that there's probably going to be an undercity, probably sewers, industrial. I would say that I have concerns about how ZA is going to end up going. But like I said, all that taken into account, I'm absolutely gonna 100% it anyway. Yes, I did. I got to 700 subs yesterday during the Terraria stream, which was very positive. Okay, so we have our 3 Hydra moves. So now I need our zombie moves. So this one is going to be called Zombie Attack. And this is going to deal damage equal to 10 times the size of the zombie swarm. Hydra Blood Attack, we can do that in the next phase. This is a pure gimmick fight. The zombie swarm attacks. Let's go with a claw special, so we show a lot of claw things. And the HP damage is going to be 10 times. So at 100, 10 times that. Let's make it 100x. If you get up to 100 zombies, you're going to kill this thing in one move. Guaranteed. So it's going to be 100x A/HP, I believe it is. Yes, A/HP, 100 damage. And honestly, we'll just have it be free. And yeah, we're just not gonna have any stamina at all. We're not gonna worry about stamina for this fight. Okay. So, deal damage equal to 100 times the size of the zombie swarm. That's fine. Zombie guard. A zombie protects the swarm. So this is going to be a certain... It's going to be a shield. It doesn't do any of that. Instead, it will apply a state. Applies to the user. adjust this as well. 1. The skill type here is zombies. A zombie protects the swarm. Sacrifice a zombie to reduce damage from the Hydra's next attack. Okay, that's fine. So the Hydra clause is going to read False Hydra attacks multiple times. So that can be represented as, oh, the zombie guard only absorbed the first attack, you know? So the Hydra clause is also going to remove the state 67, which this one applies. So state number 67 is going to take the physical damage rate and set it equal to 10%. And this is going to be the zombie guard. There we go. Zombie guard, a zombie is protecting the swarm. No enemy's ever going to do it. The protecting zombie has been destroyed. And it basically cuts physical damage down to 10%. Okay, that looks good. So, Zombie Guard applies Zombie Guard. Hydra Claws removes Zombie Guard. Hydra Feed removes Zombie Guard. Hydra Breath removes Zombie Guard. Okay. And then this one is going to be Call Zombies. And call for more zombies, increasing the size of the zombie swarm. So this is Mr. Bones calls for more zombies. Hello, Abe! Welcome to the stream. Things are going pretty darn good. And we're going to have this call 10 zombies with a 50% rate. Okay, I might have everything I need now to make this work. We have zombie attack. We have zombie guard, and we have call zombies. And then as far as Hydra 2. So on turn 1, plus 3 turns, it will start with Zombie Feed. And then on turn 2, plus 3, it will use Hydra Breath 2. And then on turn 3, plus 3, it will use the Hydra Claws. So it'll just keep doing this in a loop. So it's very predictable, it's just a gimmick fight, it's not something you could easily lose. But it does let you actually command the zombie horde for this phase of the fight. So let's give it a shot and see how it looks. Let's also change the battle background here to the zombie swarm and in the demonic world. There we go. Alright, so let's see how this fight would work and see if it actually functions. Right. It would help if we're actually fighting the one thing that they can actually fight. There we go. Oh, also, we added an out-of-place merchant here. Because people are definitely going to want to buy Crystal Pepsi. Okay, here's the fight. Yep, okay, it heals itself for a crap load of stuff. We're going to call zombies. So this next one, it's going to use the Hydra Breath. Whoops. Okay. That did not go well. Let's call this. Why not make it a vending machine? Because it's underground in, like, a haunted ruin. Alright. So, I think really if we just call for more zombies over and over, we'll be fine. This is not a particularly good part of the fight. It is ultimately just a gimmick. But that's okay, because ultimately, why did the zombie swarm not hurt you? Okay, so it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Zombie attack. Let's switch this around. A.HP times 100. Does HP damage... the attacker is expressed with A, the target with B. So A.HP. Okay, so is there something... Well, first of all, let's reduce all of your defenses. I'm not going to give you any crit rate whatsoever. Why did it not work? Also, I think we need to increase the variation on that. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is make it so that the wall portion isn't there, so that the whole zombie sword appears. Sis asked if I have a back-to-school feeling. Told her I have a back-to-hell feeling. Ah. Okay, zombie attack. Why is that dealing no damage? Oh! Because I was using an X instead of an asterisk. It wasn't recognizing it as a command to multiply. Ugh. Such a novice mistake. And yet, very easy to make. So this should deal exactly 1,000 damage. It dealt exactly 1,000 damage. Okay. So let's work our way through this battle. So its next attack is the multiple claws. That was not the multiple claws. But this one is the claws, meaning a lot of single-digit damage. Okay, next it's going to devour a zombie. So we just keep calling for more zombies. And the next one is the big attack, so we do the zombie guard. So we'll only take 1 damage here. Yep. Okay, the next one is the multiple attacks, which we can't mitigate, so we'll just call more zombies. Cool. Next is going to eat a zombie, so we call more zombies. He hasn't taken his turn yet. Very nice. Okay, the next one is his big attack, so we sack a zombie to absorb it. Perfect. And then we keep calling zombies. And at this point, we can already attack him for around half his health. But he's also going to recover 2,000 HP on this next turn. So we'll call more zombies. Very good. And we guard. Nice. Next is the multiple attacks, which we can't mitigate. So we call our zombies again. And now we can kill him in 2 attacks. Zombie attack does 6,800 damage. And even with him attacking, it's not enough to prevent this Attend from attacking and killing him. And there we go. That is the False Hydra Phase 2. It's not the most exciting fight. Hello, Aubrey. I will admit it. That is not the most exciting thing. I wish I could do, like, a lot better with that. I genuinely do. But at the end of the day, that is just part, like, 2 of a 4-fight boss gauntlet. So it is not the most exciting part of the fight. I will freely grant that. But I think it is decent for what it is. I think it's at least functional for its purpose. And so now we can start designing the much more exciting False Hydra Phase 3. And for that one, Noob, we can really start to integrate some of your ideas. And do that. Okay. And then after the fight, we change the battle background as well. I'm sort of doing these as I go along. That looks really cool. I'm just making these boss event changes as I go along, so that then I'll be able to copy paste all this once we have the room to actually fight in. So I think that works. The Hydra Breath is pretty powerful. I think it's okay. But I don't want the player to actually be able to lose in this phase. Because this is suddenly throwing a completely new set of mechanics at the player. Mechanics they haven't seen before, mechanics they're not going to understand. So we're just going to make sure that they can't die in this part. The least they can do is go down to a zombie swarm of 1. And I think that's fair, because otherwise you could get through that whole first part of the Hydra fight, which is an absolute pain in the ass, and then get here and then just immediately die because you don't know what's going on, and that's bullshit. That's player hostile. People won't enjoy that. I wouldn't enjoy that. So let's make sure that it works, and that our character here cannot actually die. Okay, so that didn't work. Oh, right, because I didn't put it on state resist. Whoops. Okay. Minor mistake. The point is that we give the player the opportunity to recognize the pattern that's going on, and then fight back against it. And even if all you do is call, even if you never did anything else, you would still have... You'd still be able to out-heal yourself even without blocking those attacks. And... yes, okay, so we're at 0 HP. And we still can't be hurt. Okay, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fine. Basically, all the player has to do is just keep calling. Just keep calling until they're like in the high 60s or higher, and then it's basically just 2 attacks and you win. So let's see if we just keep calling, if we do in fact out-damage, or out-heal all of his damage output. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure even with high rolls on the Dark Breath, it's not too hard to heal through it. But I do want the player to have to guard sometimes. So we are going to make the Hydra Breath stronger. Alright, so the next big thing is battle messages. So I want to change the battle messages. So the first thing we're going to do is have the player call. So we're actually going to take a lot of these damage formulas and we're going to change them all into things that are happening based on common events instead. So we're going to have a single variable which is going to work as the random value for the Hydra fight. So this value is going to be set to a random number between 5 and 15. And then you'll gain that much HP. And then it will display the message, Mr. Bones summoned, I think it's variable 99. Yeah, /v summoned blank v blank zombies. Okay, that's fine. So this is zombie call. This is going to be okay, that's fine. So call zombies is now, instead of just doing a healing effect, it's going to call the common event zombie call. It no longer does anything else. If it just calls a common event and has no other effect, will it say no effect in the battle messages? Yes, it does. Okay, so it does need to, like, apply a state. Honestly, the intangible removal state... Where's my null state? Alright, I just want a single null state I can use for everything now. So this state is just going to be use for common events. And it just immediately drops off and has no messages associated with it. So any skill that only calls a common event, but I don't want it to have any messages, can just apply this state. And then the game recognizes it as having an effect, and it won't give the no effect message. Zombie guard works fine. Zombie attack works fine. So Hydra Breath 2 is running any value between 6 and 18. Okay. This is going to be the Hydra Breath. So it generates this anywhere between... you know what? Let's say anywhere between 12 and 20. And then it is going to decrease Mr. Bones' HP by that amount. And it is going to say the false Hydra destroyed blank zombies. No. We can add a conditional. We can vary the message based on if they have the guard state active. That's actually a cool idea. So if Mr. Bones has the zombie guard state active, then it will say the false Hydra destroyed the protecting zombie. Okay. And if it does do that, then it only decreases the HP by 1. Okay, that works pretty damn good. And then this is going to be Hydra Claws, but first we will adjust... Whoops. Yeah, the zombie guard removal. We can actually add that into here. By removing the zombie guard effect from Mr. Bones. And since we're using messages, we no longer need a removing state. So now the only thing Hydra Breath 2 has to do is call Hydra Breath and have no other effects. except applying the use for common events state. Okay. And then Hydra Clause is going to call common event 46, and again, not do anything else. So Hydra Clause, first it generates a number between 1 and 9. Let's not do this. It's not going to have an animation. Okay. So first we play a battle animation on how do we do this? Okay, this is going to be Hydra Claw null, which has no battle messages, which does not call a common event, but which does apply a state on a single enemy, and which uses the claw effect. So the first thing we do is force the action. We force enemy number 1 to use the skill Hydra Claw null on a random target. There's only one target. So this is the first attack. Okay. Destroys the protecting zombie, HP -1. Otherwise, we remove the HP, but without changing anything. Okay. And so then the conditional branch, if the Hydra random is greater than 1, then we have a loop. Okay. So every time it attacks, we decrease the Hydra random count by 1. So if it's 1, it just does all this. Then if the Hydra random is greater than 0, then we will loop. No. We actually want the check inside of the loop. If the Hydra random is greater than 0, then we have the attack. Alright. There's probably a more elegant way I could do this, but we're just going to do it like this. We're just going to have a counter, Hydra Random Max, which we are going to set equal to Hydra Random. Hydra Random -1. We have the action, if it's afflicted by the zombie guard, then we specify that the protecting zombie was destroyed. In either case, we remove zombie guard and we reduce the HP by 1. Then we begin a loop, where every time it loops, it first checks if the Hydra random value is greater than 0. If it is, it does the attack again, it reduces the thing again, and then it loops. And when it is equal to 0, then we do this, and we break the loop. With variable 100. So I think this will all work now without displaying any in-battle messages that are not accurate to what's going on. So let's call the zombies. We summoned 9 zombies. So he devours a zombie and heals. Next, we'll activate a zombie guard. He spews forth, the false Hydra destroyed 18 zombies. Okay. So that didn't work, and I think I know where it failed. It's because it's removing zombie guard in the attack before it is activating the common event. Next thing I want to do is make sure that both the Hydra and the player have the same agility stat, so that each one is getting 1 turn for the other's 1 turn. And then we will add a briefing to the battle. So it is going to say, use Mr. Bones to command the swarm of zombies to overwhelm the false Hydra. In this battle, your life, what do I call it? Do I call it health? Do I call it life? Okay, I call it health. In this battle, your health represents the number of zombies you are controlling. Okay. It's a little awkward, but it should at least be functional. Use Mr. Bones to command the swarm of zombies to overwhelm the false Hydra. In this battle, your health represents the number of zombies you are controlling. So first, call zombies. Mr. Bones summoned 10 zombies. So the Hydra eats a zombie. Then we guard. The false Hydra destroyed the protecting zombie. So we only take 1 damage. Mr. Bone summoned 12 zombies. So we can actually watch our HP goes down, and it destroyed 5 zombies. Perfect. The zombie swarm is still good. That's fine. And now we are going to let these play without having the guard. False Hydra destroyed 16 zombies. That's good. And then if we zombie guard for the multiple attacks, we should get a message that it breaks, destroyed the protecting zombie on the first attack. So the other attacks go through, and we see that it destroyed 8 zombies total. This works! This works! This fight is exactly how I wanted it to be now. Okay, that's perfect. The only thing I want to do is just change the animation for the summon. So what works better? Honestly, Light Pillar 2 is fine. Okay, so that is it. That is the completed False Hydra Phase 2. Now, let's brainstorm False Hydra, the False Hydra's final phase. There's going to be a phase where we fight off a bunch of, like, small ones, basically a horde battle. I'll worry about designing that one last time, but let's work on the big one. So, Noob, you've had several ideas. So you've got a Hydra blood attack where the Hydra hurts itself to deal damage to the party. That's a good idea. Poison flame attack. I like that. Hydra poison flame attack. That's a really good one. Any other ones you had suggested? Okay. Oh. Well, welcome back, Noob. We are now brainstorming the next phase of the Hydra. The phase 2 of the fight is now finished, and now I am taking some of your ideas and integrating them into the next phase of the fight. So there's going to be the Hydra blood attack, where it hurts itself to deal damage. There's going to be the poison flame attack. And we need some more mechanics. This one is going to be less about being disruptive and more about just putting out a crap load of stuff on it. What was your third one? I saw the Hydra blood and the poison flame. Which one was your third attack? Do you mean where you said a gas attack? Wapapa. Wababa. Let's see. The first form of the Hydra had the big explosive darkness attack. It had the stunning attack. Honestly, I like Grasping Dark. Adding that is back in. Grasping Dark attack. Hydra can absorb the poison status and heal itself, but after absorbing it, it can poison again for some turns. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, that's a really cool idea. Okay. So, it applies a debuff on everybody. Okay. Hydra applies a poisonous debuff to the whole party, and after a couple turns, heals itself proportional to the number of party members that are still debuffed. Okay, that is an absolutely awesome mechanic. Alright, and that's going to come from the Poison Flame attack. So that's going to be like... I think that works as like a primary gimmick for the phase, where basically it's able to heal itself. I will ask for 18,000 water cups at Taco Bell. There you go, you got to Bell in the end. I wouldn't mind going to Taco Ball, though. That sounds fun. Okay, this is brilliant. Okay. So, it starts with the Poison Flame attack, then it uses the Grasping Dark to stun one of the party members, interfering with your ability to get rid of the debuff. So we'll give 2 turns where it lets the party deal with that. So, Grasping Dark, double claw attack, and then it absorbs the poison to heal itself. And then the turn after that, it does the Hydra Blood attack, where it hurts itself to deal damage to the party. I could use these 2 effects to basically be like the main gimmick of the whole battle. So it has ways it's healing itself and also ways that it's hurting itself. So let's say if it absorbs 2 poison, it stays 1-1. If it absorbs no poison, then it's hurting itself more than it's healing. And if it gets 3 or more poison, it's healing itself more than it's hurting you. Okay, so we'll have a 1-to-1 ratio. So let's have it be 1,000. So heals 1,000 damage per poison absorbed. And the Hydra blood attack uses 2,000 health. So we actually have a system here. So now we just need to sort of figure out the other parts of the mechanics. So Grasping Dark and Double Claw, those are simple. Those are basic attacks. Grasping Dark can stun. So what about this Hydra blood attack? Do we want... No, because it's always using 2,000 health to do it. So this is going to be a strong attack hitting the whole party. What else? Is there anything else special we should have the Hydra blood move doing? It can slow them down. And slowing them for 1 turn. Slowing them by a lot for 1 turn. So the Hydra attack, so this deals fire damage, inflicts Hydra Venom, we genuinely might have the entire fight right here. Like, this could literally be the entire battle. We will just add, after this, a triple claw attack before we circle back around and repeat it all. Actually, let's start with triple claw. How is the Hydra blood attack? I just explained it. The Hydra drains 2,000 HP of itself in order to inflict heavy dark damage on the entire party and slows them down by a lot for until their next turn. So this is turn 1, this is turn 2, this is turn 3, this is turn 4, this is turn 5, and this is turn 6. So it's a 6-turn cycle of actions. I absolutely freaking love this. I absolutely love this. I'll be honest, I think this is enough. Okay. So this is going to be the Hydra Triple Claw. which deals dark damage on 2 random enemies. It can crit, 15% variance. The Hydra gnashes its fangs. Okay. So this is 3 attacks, 3 random enemies. This all looks fine. This is Hydra Double Claw, which is just on 2 enemies. Okay. So I think we want to take Misty Darkness as the base for this next attack. And this one is fire. And it goes like this. Spews forth venomous flames. Okay. And then this is going to add the state of Hydra Mist. No. This is going to be... is affected by Venom Flame. Affected by Venom Flame. When the state is removed, 2 is no longer affected by Venom Flame. Okay. So this is Venom Flame, and it's going to drain 8% of their HP per turn, so it's a pretty bad effect. Apply Venom Flame to everybody. So that's Triple Claw, Double Claw. Grasping Dark is already made. This is the Hydra Poison. So the last 2 moves I need to design for this fight before I design the logic are the Poison Healing and the Hydra Blood Attack. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back, we'll design that. And before this stream is out, we are going to have 3 of the 4 phases of the Hydra fight designed. No noob, I am not lost. Now, let's get back to work. The Hydra blood is not too difficult to do. So this is going to be the Hydra blood. We'll make it even stronger. Okay, that works for Hydra blood. So for Hydra blood, this is going to be the second part of the move. So it's not going to have any messages. So the Hydra bleeds blue. Apparently it does. The primer, it's going to deal 2,000 damage to itself. Hydra spills forth a torrent of its own blood. So first it's going to cut itself. Like that. On the user, and this is going to call another common event number 47. So this is going to be Hydra Blood, which forces action enemy to use the skill Hydra Blood. And then Hydra Blood does the actual damage. Copper-based blood. Quite possibly. There is no element associated with that. The Hydra Blood is very, very powerful. Okay. So now comes the hard one. Hydra Poison Heal. So we need to add a series of conditionals. So first we have to check which characters have been affected by Venom Flame. So if Ryu has been affected by Venom Flame, then the first thing we would do is we can take the Hydra random stat and we can add 1,000 to it. Boop, boop, boop. And then we do the same thing for Thatcher and Maltermite and Elena. And while I'm thinking about this is actually important. The Zombie Swarm attack. If they just use their attack skill, it comes out as Zombie Attack. There we go. Can the blood give the tetanus effect, aka weakness with very weak poison? It is going to have a negative effect. The slow comes from the Hydra Blood attack, which I actually forgot to add. So thank you for reminding me on that one. That's actually really important. Okay. Is being slowed by the blood. Is being slowed by the blood. Is no longer being slowed, and instead of a poison, this one simply causes your agility to go down to 10%, but it moves after you take it's removed after you take an action. It doesn't have any restrictions, but it is based on abnormal with a paralysis effect. So this is going to be Hydra Blood, and we apply this effect to the Hydra Blood. Same reason horseshoe crabs have blue blood. Yes, that is correct. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to run a check if the Hydra random is greater than 0. And regardless, the entire party is going to lose the Hydra Blood effect. Let's actually play an animation. So the null animation is going to be Hydra Poison Null. It's going to run in Absorb animation. Just like that. Okay. So we force an action for the enemy to use Hydra Poison Null on Index 1. Index 2, Index 3, Index 4. I think this will work. I'm not actually sure how the battle indexes actually function. Okay. But I definitely know how to do this. Set Hydra Random Max equal to the ID of the last actor to act. No, that doesn't really work. I'm just gonna have to hope that the indexes work. I have an idea for the next phase. The only other plays I plan to have is gonna be kind of like a horde fight. Okay, let's change Ryu to lose Hydra Blood. Thatcher to lose Hydra Blood. Malter to lose Hydra Blood. And finally, Elena to lose Hydra Blood. Can we put variables in here? /V. God, I don't even know which one we're using anymore. 99. /V 99. With no element, HP recover on the user. Cure 1 with no variants. This is going to be Hydra, Poison, Heal. With no messages. Okay. So we have Hydra, Poison, Heal. Like that. Okay. Actor null skill. Okay. Target the user, apply the common event. You have no animations. So this is going to be actor null skill. So the first thing we do is we force an action where the actor Ryu uses actor null skill. And then we follow that up with the Hydra using skill on the last target. Because the last thing that was targeted in the battle was Ryu. So that might make sure that we can very specifically target the right person with the skills. Possibly. Ryu, Thatcher, Malter, Force Action, Hydra Heal. Okay. So then we have a primer, which is going to call the poison event the Hydra Poison Heal. False Hydra absorbs any remaining venom. So it'll play the absorb animation on itself. It'll apply the null state. Okay. Alright, Hydra Poison Absorb. This is pretty freaking complicated. So let's go ahead and test it. We start by doing the Venom Flame. And then on the next turn, we will use the Hydra Poison Absorb. So let's see if this works. This is False Hydra 3. My god, this battle is insane. Okay, let's go. So we just want to see if the absorption works. So it spews forth venomous flames. It applies poison. Does it absorb the poison? Okay, that did not come close to working. So, it definitely went to the Hydra Poison Heal. So if Ryu is affected by Venom Flame, force an action. Force Ryu to use a skill with a random target. Index 3, Index 4. Oh, right. These are all focusing on the wrong thing. We need the Venom Flame. Venom Flame. Venom Flame. Okay, does this work? Okay, it absorbed on Ryu. It absorbed on Thatcher. It absorbed on Malter. It absorbed on Elena. But it didn't do the next part. It didn't go to Poison Heal. Why didn't it go to Poison Heal? We're going to make all of this okay, we're controlling the variables, we're increasing the number. So the Hydra random should be greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, it should be forcing... Okay, for some reason I had the wrong thing there. Now, if we remove all of this, do the index targeting systems still function? Okay. Good. It's going pretty good. Okay. 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 And then it healed itself. Okay. Alright. Alright. So this is where it's going to get tough. Change the enemy HP decrease by 4,000. Then increase the enemy HP by an amount equal to Hydra Random. We're going to change the poison heal. So that's equal to A.MP. Which should do it. Okay. And then after it's used that, we reset its MP back to 0. So we can use its MP stat as a floating integer for the purposes of the healing amount. Okay. Let's change this to all enemies. So let's change the Hydra Poison Null to just a single action that plays once, targeting the entire party. Okay. And then on turn 3, sounds like the folks downstairs are deciding to be angry for God knows what reasons. Can hear them deciding it would be a good use of their time to shout at each other. Alright. Spews forth venomous flames. Good. Good. Oh, it's because of the priority of the null state. That's why the poison isn't showing up right away. Got it. Okay. And then it heals itself for nothing. Right. So the enemy HP is going up by Hydra Random. Oh, right, because its max MP isn't good enough. Okay, that's the problem. So set its MP max to that. That's where I had the issue with that. Okay. Next thing, the common event primer. So we set this one's priority to 0. Perfect. And then for the Venom Flame, we do want the abnormal condition. Okay. All right, I think it's going well. Let's check again. So the venomous flames, everybody gets poisoned. Why isn't the poison showing up right away? Okay, it actually healed itself. Good. So next we should get the Hydra Blood. It does 2,000 to itself. And it greatly slows everybody else. Okay. What's my debug code for a full heal? 017. Okay. Let's go with debug code 017. So this time... Oh, okay. We aren't resetting the variable. That's why. Okay. So we need to reset this variable back to 0. Let's see. We can crank up the poison effect a little bit. We're going to make the agility even slower. Okay. The poison null... Blind works. Let's change the Hydra Blood to poison. I think that works better for poisoned blood. Alright, I think that works better for the heal. Okay, I think this will work. Oh, right. So for some reason... This is the Hydra Poison Null. Who the hell is using Hydra Poison Null? Is anything anywhere calling Hydra Poison Null? Okay. Yeah, that's the one it's using to so it's using Hydra Poison Absorb. Absorbs any remaining venom. So this is the one that should be blind. Okay, that's where it uses Hydra Poison Null. Okay. So that does need to be the absorb on all enemies. Okay, I might have this completely figured out now. So let's test it. First, it spews forth the flames. Then it resorbs any remaining venom. And heals itself equal to the number of people who are still poisoned. Okay. Good. And then we get the Hydra blood. Which slows everybody down, which lets it act more quickly. Then it uses Venom Flame. This isn't the final logic we're going to go with. This is just the, this is just to make sure all that the skills work. Debug code 017, heal everybody. So it should not heal itself for anything, and it should not even show the healing animation this time. Okay. Alright, that worked exactly like I wanted it to. So, the Hydra needs to be certain in order to avoid Elena's dodging. Okay. So, all of these attacks are now functional, and we can design this phase of the fight. So we're just going to run this the same way that we designed the Hydra the first Hydra's logic. So at phase 0, it unleashes the triple claw attack. And then it increases the phase count by 1. And in fact, we're going to have to make sure that we add something here to set the phase count, to set 98 to 100 to 0. So we set 98 to 100 and all set them to 0. Okay. Then at the end of the next turn, and we need to have them count up. Otherwise, if we count from, we need the order of the logic to count down from the highest number. And the reason for that is if we count up, then at the end of phase count 0, it will set the phase count to 1. So if this next one is phase count 1, then it'll automatically do that one, and so on and so forth. So phase count 0 needs to be at the very bottom of the list. So for the phase count 1, this is when we do the Poison Flame attack. This is when we unleash Venom Flame. Then on phase count 2, we do Grasping Darkness. Then on phase count 3, we do the Double Claw. On phase count 4, we do the Hydra Poison Absorb. That is the right one, right? Yeah, Hydra. We're just going to call it the Hydra Absorb Primer. So it's more easy for me to keep track of which skill is triggering which thing. Say Hydra Absorb Primer. And then on phase count 5, we do the Hydra Blood. Whoops. We do the Hydra Blood Primer. And we increase the phase count by 1. And this would bring the phase count up to 6. So after all the logic is done, then we add one last conditional, where if the phase count is equal to 6, we reset the phase count to 0. And then we delete all of the individual logic from the Hydra. And we should have a completely functional Hydra phase 3 fight. Let's take a look. Oh, right. Okay, no. Important thing first. The Crystal Pepsi needs to be able to remove the Venom Flame effect. There's a piece of armor that needs to be able to remove the Venom Flame effect. So remove the Venom Flame. Okay. Let's test it. First thing we're going to do is activate debug code 100 in order to unlock all skills. Alright, Elena does have the Purify skill as well. Alright, let's check out this fight. We're going to prepare some growth ammo. We're going to prepare 4 shots of growth ammo. Let's try Nadir. Ryu, why don't you Dragon Shift Dark? Hey, noob, you are just in time to see this fight. Whoa, okay. Fix triple and double claw to attack the correct number of times. How about making Hydro take more damage if hitting with multi-hitting attacks or AoE, since all heads are attacked, it takes more damage? That would be... I genuinely don't know how it would even be possible for me to implement that without, like, a significant ground-up overhaul of the damage system, and I would have to apply... It's just not practical, I think, to apply that, unfortunately. Does Bottle Opener work on you? How about Zenith? That, and it really isn't a real Hydra. It is truly a false Hydra. Let's try Double Claw. That's good. That's a lot of damage. Let's go for a Purify on Malter. And let's put out some Growth Shot. God damn it, Elena. Okay, change Growth Shot to certain hit. There goes Grasping Darkness. We need to really increase this thing's offensive power. Okay. Is there super effective and resisted thing? There is a system. Some enemies are more or less resistant to certain elements. It should only heal 3,000. Why did it heal 4,000? It shouldn't have healed 4,000. The Hydra is actually pretty neutral to every type of damage except for Dark. Let's Dragon Shift Red. Red Dragon Shifting is not removing Dark Dragon Shifting. Make sure other Dragon Shifts remove Dark Dragon Shift. Another thing I'm gonna have to fix. Double Claw. Holy crap, that was strong. How much does Cat Flick do these days? Not much. Why aren't you acting? Okay, the AI broke after a single cycle. Okay, so we've got a lot of things to fix. First of all, we need to increase these defenses rather significantly. Second, we really need to increase that attack. Second, Triple Claw should be 3 random enemies. Double Claw should be that. Increase the power of Triple and Double Claw. So we got that. Change Growth Shot to a certain hit. Where did I put my special shots? There it is. Growth Shot is not a magical attack. It is a certain hit. That takes care of that. Make sure other Dragon Shifts removes things. So Dragon Shift Arc. Okay. Wait, none of the Dragon Guards are supposed to be able to stack. Could all of the Dragon Guards stack until now? No, they couldn't. They couldn't. I just never threw in remove Dragon Guard Dark here. All right. Good. Dragon Guard Dark. Oh no, wait. It would work properly in the game. Okay. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work in the battle test, which I can actually fix. Pretty easily. By turning on the switch for Dark Dragon active, I think. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Have you decided on Hydra drops? I'm not really thinking the player gets like any particularly like meaningful drop from this. So no, I haven't really thought about it much. So if phase count is equal to 5, so why did it not reset? Why didn't it reset? That's not causing it to break. Phase count 0 worked just fine. It did the triple claw. Phase count 1 worked fine. It did Venom Flame. Phase count 2 worked fine. It did Grasping Dark. Phase count 3 did fine. It did Double Claw. Phase count 4 did fine. It did the Absorption. Phase count 5 did fine. It did the Primer. At that point, it's supposed to once again add 1 to the phase count, which should put the phase count to 6. So if the phase count is equal to 6, I had it set to add 0, not set 0. The phase count was remaining at 0. Okay. Alright. Let's check again. Actually, first let's investigate the healing thing. A.MP. It's not supposed to be using max MP, and this formula is not saying max MP, it's saying normal MP. So first we decrease all of their MP by maximum. Then we are increasing it by amount equal to the Hydra random variable. So it shouldn't be healing it shouldn't be healing 4,000. So why is it healing 4,000? Okay, that is a crap load of damage. Which is good. Good. Everything seems to be working. There's Grasping Darkness. Malter, let's use Growth Shot. Okay, Thatcher. So I want you to use Crystal Pepsi to remove the poison from Elena. So Elena is definitely now not poisoned. Elena, I want you to use your Purify on Malter. Okay, 2 players. Holy hell, that hurt. Alright, 2 players. Now 3 people are not poisoned. So only 1 person is poisoned right now. So it should only heal 1,000. it healed 2,000. Okay, why did it heal 2,000? Did it not technically have poison removed from Ryu? Ryu is dead, though. He shouldn't have come back with poison. So where is it getting an extra 1,000 from? And that would also explain the behavior that I saw the first time. Where 3 players were poisoned, and it healed 4,000. Okay. Reduce variance on claw attacks. Sometimes it can just be too strong. So where the hell is the extra 1,000 coming from? That's what I don't get. Let's purify Thatcher. Thatcher is still poisoned. Okay, I think Purify isn't getting rid of it. Okay, so we have 3 characters. 3 characters who are poisoned right now. So it should heal 3,000. Okay, so the problem is that Purify isn't removing poison. Add Antidote to Purify. So that's the problem. I just wasn't paying enough attention to realize that Purify wasn't healing it. Okay. We are not going to let it crit on those attacks. And we are going to severely reduce the variance. We're going to decrease its attack by a bit. We're going to bump up its defenses. We are going to change Purify so that it can remove Venom Flame. If the Hydra attacks with poison, why don't you try making the player take increased damage if they're poisoned? You can do that? Really? I did not know you could use that kind of conditional. Let's give it a test. Let's try that on the double claw. So if it is affected, then we take increased damage from the claw. Thank you, Sudapong. Alright, let's give that a try. As far as I know, this is a fully functional Phase 3. Well, actually, more likely Phase 4. This will probably be the fourth and final phase in the actual battle. Actually, no. We could do the Horde battle phase last. We can be like, the Hydra's been so beaten up and broken into pieces, and then the last phase is just everybody dogpiling on the pieces. That would be really cool. Okay. Alright, debug code 100. Also, we need to start the commands on this thing. Your stream is so good to fall asleep to. I'm actually glad to hear that. I'm glad that you find it relaxing. Alright. Let's see if we can kill this thing. We're gonna Dragon Shift Dark. Okay, good. Malter, we need some growth ammo. Let's perform 4 growth shots. Let's go in with the double claws. Okay, here's the Venom Flame. So, as long as no more than 2 people are poisoned, it all ends up pretty even. Also, code 100 is not giving me Dark Breath. Debug code 100 needs Dark Breath. Malter. Let's activate the growth shot. Alright, we are now regenerating. We're going to purify on Thatcher, since she is the most vulnerable. And then Thatcher is going to use the Crystal Pepsi to get rid of Malter's poison. Let's observe for a difference in damage. Grasping Shadows on Elena, that's fine. That's completely manageable. Oh, yeah, okay. Good point. I didn't even pay attention to it enough to notice. You're completely right. I did not have the ID set. So the Venom Flame ID 69. Of course it's fucking ID 69. There we go. Okay. Okay, that works. But we also never taught... we never had ID code 100. Teach Dark Breath. Well, we tried to teach Dark Breath, but we taught it to Elena. Of course we did. Alright. Alright, this is it. This is the big one. This is the real big, probably final test of this battle. Okay. Let's do it. What language is that? I'm not actually sure. I'm not familiar with that particular alphabet. It's easy enough to recognize Roman, Cyrillic. I can differentiate a number of Asian. If I had to put out a wild guess, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother putting out a wild guess. I don't know which language that is. Alright. Debug code 100. Let's do this. This is our probably final test of Hydra Phase 3. We're gonna go all out on this thing like we are trying to actually fight and beat it. Elena... Just go for your regular attack. Okay. Malter, we're gonna need growth ammo to counter the poison. Three shots is plenty. Thatcher, does Elegy of Death do more damage than Zenith? Not really. Let's go Double Claw. That is a very strong attack. Growth Shot. This boss is no damn joke. What about Frostbite? Can we get Frostbite on it? We can. Okay. Alright, Venom Flame is active. Let's Dragon Shift Dark so we can protect ourselves from the blood attack. Malter, Growth Shot. Begin the healing. Elena, Purify on Thatcher. Thatcher, go for healing. Grasping Darkness on Malter. Let's try some Dark Breath. That's pretty good. But Double Claws are where we're at. Thatcher, heal on Malter. So here should be the Double Claw. Okay, still literally can't tell if that actually worked or not. Oh, right. We definitely need to purify a second character. So that we at least break even when it absorbs. Alright, so it should absorb 2 instances of poison and heal for 2,000. Which is exactly what happened. That's good. Let's reapply Frostbite. Let's use enrichment so we can get more rewards after the fight. Elena, Justice Punch. Not really doing anything. Okay. Double Claw. There goes the Hydra Blood. Let's reapply Growth Shot. Malters ran out of prepared ammo. Fair enough. Health is actually pretty under control right now. Not bad. I think we need to change the element of the claw attacks to normal instead of dark. Healing. Elena. Let's purify on Thatcher. Okay. Ryu. Let's make sure it's not going to adequately heal itself this time. More Elegy of Death. Elena, Purify on Ryu. Ryu, Double Claw. Okay. So that fight definitely works. And it actually works pretty damn well. If anything, the double claws seem very powerful. So let's actually bump up its defenses. Let's bump up its regular defenses more, but lower its magical defenses. And the last thing we need to do is have it so that the Hydra's actions begin on turn 0 instead of only on turn 1. And that's it. That is it. I have 3 full phases of the Hydra boss down. We have the initial phase where it transitions between a tangible and an intangible form, and you really, really have to work around its debuffs in order to stay alive. We have phase 2 where you're fighting it with a zombie swarm, which is really more of a gimmick and you literally can't lose it. And then we have phase 3 where you're fighting it again with your regular team. And this time it's really about exploiting that, the combination of the poison affliction, the poison absorption, and the Hydra blood. And trying not to let yourself get overwhelmed by all of those. So, yeah, we're actually going to bump the defense up to 70 here. So we're going to make sure... Let's see... and we are going to make it completely immune to stun. Because otherwise, if you break the sequence of attacks between the different phases, it may end up breaking it. I don't want to go through in my head and try to calculate every possible way that could break. So it's just going to be easier to make it immune to Wing Buffet stun altogether. So I would like to point out that the last big boss that we had 12,000 HP. Between our 3 phases, so far, this is a 30,000 HP boss. And there's still going to be a 4th phase where you're basically going to be fighting, for lack of a better term, I don't actually know yet what this thing's going to look like, but you're basically fighting the Hydra heads, or Hydra spawn, or something. And that's going to be it for today, I think. I've been here for more than 3.5 hours now. I've done absolutely wonderful work here today. I will also demonstrate briefly the next parts of the map. So we have the event here where Elena gets the sword and she learns about like the intangible effect. We have our sort of tutorial against an intangible enemy. Then you go in here. If you step into the poison mists, the whole party gets poisoned, which sucks. And it's sort of a maze, but you can find your way around. You can run into more tortured souls in here, but they're not, like, particularly common. So it's you know, it's a possibility, but it's not something you're going to have to deal with a lot. And it really is just going to be these, and they're honestly not that bad to deal with. They're just kind of a minor obstacle. Gonna have to fix that. And then that leads to another room. And you gotta make your way through another part of the thing. I think the path is like over here. Yeah, and then this room will lead directly into the actual lair of the Hydra. So this area here will lead to the Hydra chamber. It doesn't do it yet, but it will. Need to make... Ooh. Just had a minor power surge. Luckily, years ago, I invested in getting a surge protector that saved me from such things. Okay. So, yeah. Come back again next week. where I am going to be designing like the actual false hydra's lair. I will be designing like the actual set of like map level events that take place when you battle against the Hydra. We will be designing the fourth and final phase of the Hydra battle. And I think that's it. I think that we have basically arrived at the end of the second act of the game. After that, there'll still be like a couple things to be done to close out Act 2, like, give it a little bit of a coda, actually like guide the player to the next area of the map, which is going to be here. But I can easily make those things on my own time. So yeah, come back next week where we are finally going to be finishing Act 2 of the Community RPG Maker project. I am so incredibly excited for this. And Cole, good thing you're here. Since you are here, I will also give a slight update on the Gotcha project to end up. So Gotcha project, I haven't done a lot of work on it, but I have done some. Here we have the headquarters where we are actually going to have all of the different characters will actually be here and interact with the player if they're in your party. And then, depending on which tier of the character you have unlocked, that is how they will appear here in the headquarters. They'll all say different things based on whatever tier they are. So, there's your girl, Aerie. Here in the gallery, you can see which ones. The ones that only have one person in the row are the ones that I've made that for. I've started making the scenes where you'll be briefed in between each chapter of the game. So, once again, only the characters that you have unlocked will actually show up in the briefing. This is a new building connected to the headquarters. Specifically, it is this building here. And this is the power generator. And every time you clear a mission, you actually will earn some energy, just passively. And then here at the power generator, you can save up and use power cells in order to upgrade the power generator in order to earn more energy passively after your missions. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Wasn't that marked with a bed? Well, now it's a power generator. So, yeah, those are the features that have been added to the project. I've also worked on some of the generic maps and having, like, different objectives for them. So, there you go. Little update for you as I work on that. Honestly, still the timeline as is, it's going to be close to 2 months before all that is done. We're a couple weeks into that, so still realistically looking at 6 to 7 weeks before the next update of the Gotcha project. But, alright, that's it. I am done. I am going to eat. I am going to sit. I am going to rest. So, thank you all so much for coming today. I always appreciate it. I will see you all in the next one, and it is time to make the sound to summon the end of the stream. Wow, 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 wow.